Welcome to the Signature Life podcast. Today I have the one and only Darryl Braswell. He's on the cover of the Las Vegas Agent magazine this month, January of 2020. He's got multiple designations, been in real estate for about 5 years, originally from Boston, and we're excited to have you today, Darryl.
Welcome to the Signature Life podcast, where we sit down with signature real estate agents with a shared conviction that moving towards things we want in life starts with the choices we make today. We're creating an ever-evolving culture for those who wish to participate in a larger mission to help others achieve their full potential and a signature life.
So you're on the cover of Agent magazine this month, huh?
Yes.
How'd that happen?
It was funny because she actually had contacted me in around November because Christina Chipman was the cover story for October. And they just say, who else do you think could possibly benefit from being on the cover? Who do you think is actually a good role model in the industry? And Christina had mentioned my name, and she contacted me. I get solicitations like all the time. So when she first called me, I was just like, And then I put her name to the magazine. I've been looking at this magazine since I first got licensed about 5 years ago. And I've always dreamed of being on the cover. So when she said, we'd love to have you on the cover for January 2020, would you want to do it? I was like, of course.
Yeah.
And so I had to be quiet about it for like the last 8 weeks. It's been kind of hard, but.
You're not good at keeping secrets?
Well, for my clients, yes. For my personal life, no.
Yeah.
And also, how can you keep a secret like that, like a secret? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's so difficult, like to be like you're going to be blasted on all these different brokerages throughout Las Vegas and Henderson, and my story is just. I mean, I can't say it's rare, but people hear my story like, "Wow, like how did you become so successful so fast?" And I mean, there really is no formula. It's just hard work.
Hard work and dedication.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you've been licensed. You said almost 5 years, right?
Almost 5 years. Yes,
Yeah, and you started with another brokerage before Signature.
Mm-hmm.
Coming out of that other brokerage, it was kind of a mess. It was a little bit bumpy, and I think you were still trying to figure things out. I mean, how long was it before you kind of figured out real estate and how it all worked and how you could make money at it?
When I was in Boston, thinking about relocating to Las Vegas about 5 years ago, I was in sales since I was 20. And like the story I mentioned, I was more like the impulse buyer. If I saw something shiny, I bought it, And through training through Deluxe Corporation, which they actually print out our checks for us, I think it's so funny. But I became this seller. I learned how to, solve problems quickly. And I decided that when I was relocating here, I was like, new location, new career. 'Cause I got really tired of putting my best foot forward and just seeing pennies on the dollar of commissions, And then also, basically, seeing if I can possibly get approval for vacation and then being told when to go to lunch and to go on break. So that gets kind of annoying and monotonous. So when I came here, I was just like, no one in my family is involved in real estate whatsoever on either side. And I was like, how can I be in control of my career, also my finances and my scheduling? And I was like, ta-da, real estate.
Yeah.
But coming here 5 years ago, I did not know a single person or the area. And it's funny because we came to visit for a week in February, and then 6 months later, we moved in. It was so weird. So building my business was really the challenge of not knowing not a single soul here and just not even knowing my area. Like if I was to do real estate where I'm from, my success would have been so much faster. Because I knew everyone where I'm from.
Your sphere of influence
exactly,
is big.
I had a dance studio. I had taught over 1,000 people how to dance, for like so many years. And I was friends with city councilmen and club promoters. I knew so many people in my city. So like doing real estate at home made so much more sense. I just didn't want to be home anymore.
Yeah. And so you just made a decision to move to Vegas, or was there something out in Vegas that drew you out here?
Well, love brought me here.
Love brings a lot of people here.
So love definitely brought me here. And it's funny because, my license, I joke about it, but it's the truth. My license keeps me here. I ended up purchasing my first home last year. It'd be about a year in March.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It was a massive process. Just with my issues alone. But my license definitely keeps me here. But also the friendships that I have made here now solidify me to be a true person of Las Vegas. I hate going home now for more than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because, it snows there, and you got to, drive through it and plow through it and shovel it. And it's like, no, this is not my life anymore.
So I experienced the same thing being from Salt Lake, and I moved here in 2008, so I've been here a little bit longer. But I just moved here cold turkey, too, didn't know anybody. And so I understand some of those challenges, and it's tough. One of the things that helped me is I met Vandana, and Vandana introduced me to a lot of people. Was there anybody instrumental when you came out here that kind of helped you connect with people? Or
It's funny. So my mentor, Heather Monji, hey Heather, we actually met through a transaction. I was the listing representation. I shouldn't say even listing agent with the other brokerage because we weren't allowed to do that. But she was the buyer's agent. I was the listing representation. And she just bluntly just said to me, "Are you happy where you are?" And I was like, "No." I was like, "No, like goodness, no." Because when I first hung my license, I chose that brokerage because, I was interviewing different brokerages, and I interviewed, I think, with 6 of them. And I chose that brokerage at first because, they were the top selling brokerage in Las Vegas. I'm like, if I'm going to be, at the top, I need to learn from the top.
Right.
And that didn't actually happen when I, hung my license there. It was all like, here's a template, copy that. It was like, okay, well, can this template tell me how to describe this form to a client or to a prospect? That makes no sense to me. And also with my brain surgery, nothing was clicking because I wasn't doing it as often. So I was forgetting like everything like all the time.
Right.
But when Heather and I actually had first, when we had our conversation, we actually met. So I was actually looking for different brokerages at the time. It was between Signature and other brokerage. And after I met with Heather, I canceled my meeting with the other brokerage.
Nice.
And I brought my license to Signature, and the rest is history.
Yeah, and we've loved you ever since. So you did dance back in Boston. So did you have your own dance studio, or you just taught it? Or?
So I had my own dance studio. So that story, and the way I ended up having my own dance studio was really just by accident. We were renting a space from a dance school that I was teaching for and it was just, we had I think it was, I want to say maybe 9 or 10 hours a week or so. I was paying $400 or $500 a month or something. And this opportunity came up that's down the street where I was able to rent out a room large enough for all my students, hang up mirrors, put the bars up, and it was like half the price. So I even forget who got me in contact. This was oh my gosh, 15 years ago.
Wow.
So I forget who even got me in contact with that person, but I ran that studio for 3 years, and then I ended up shutting it down because my true passion is music. I love to sing. I'm a musician. I don't play an instrument. My only instrument is my voice, but I really want to focus on that aspect of my career. So I shut down my studio and I started releasing music.
Oh, wow.
So yeah. So actually in the article, you actually see 5 of my CD covers.
So you've got CDs out and everything?
Yes.
Oh, right on.
And I've actually sold some CDs in Japan. I had CD Baby. Any independent artist knows what CD Baby is. Basically, it's a distribution website for independent artists. So I sold some records in Japan. My debut album is still actually on iTunes, but everything else is just I just lost connection with it. Because it's funny because I stopped singing because I wanted to get my degree in graphic design. My CD covers, I designed all my CD covers. And I wanted to get my degree because the thing with entertainment, it's not promising. And I sat myself down, I was like, what if something tragic happens where I can no longer express myself through dance or through movement? How can I express myself just sitting in a chair? And I'm like, graphic design. Yeah. So, and that's why I went to graphic design, and I obtained my degree, and the music just went to the back seat. And it's not like I don't love making music still, it's just it wasn't profitable. Because being an independent artist, you have to pay for everything and still pay for your life, and it makes it so difficult. And then, like I said, then real estate came in, and I just went full throttle into real estate.
So do you see yourself, so it'd just be a hobby for you now?
It's just a hobby. Yeah. It's just, people always say, are you planning on making another song? And if I do, it'll probably be my last one. Because, I'll be 35 in March. I'm getting older. My voice is
pretty
changing.
old.
Well, I've been in this industry. Well, the funny thing is I got licensed. My goal was to be licensed before I hit 30. And I did that with 5 days to spare. So on March 24th.
Overachiever.
Yes. So that last week, it was ridiculous because my whole issue was, with having my brain surgery, I would forget things so fast. So at that time frame, 5 years ago, you were able to just be a walk-in to take your test. And so I did that one time, 3 times in a week. I was like, I'm going to do that this week. And so, I had passed the national. It was just the state that was just irritating me. I was missing by 2 questions. And so I only had to take the state over and over again, and then I finally did it. And I think, because I know the test takes about $100, I have no shame to say I spent $650 to get my license.
Some of the best agents I know failed that test a ton of times.
Yeah.
And because that test doesn't mean you're going to be a good agent or not. It's just to learn the laws and the different things that you need to know to pass the test, right?
Yes.
But I want to go back. You said something about brain surgery.
Yes.
I did not know that you've had brain surgery. You want to jump into that a little bit?
Sure.
Or?
Okay. Well, I do have an autoimmune disease. It's hemolytic anemia, where my red blood cells attack themselves, and it's heat activated. So I live like in the perfect state, right?
Right.
But basically, I was on so many I remember one time when I was home from the hospital, I counted like maybe 16 medications that I was taking.
Ouch.
And I'm not a good pill taker. Like, it takes me like 5 minutes to swallow a pill. Like, it's serious. And I was on this medication called Coumadin, which is a blood thinner. And they had put the dosage so high that my brain had flooded with blood. And I was actually, thank goodness I was actually in the hospital when that actually happened, because I remember that night like it was yesterday. I said goodbye to my cousin and my friend who had brought me to the hospital. I was already checked into my room. And then I wake up the very next morning. I have this bandage around my head. And I also have this disc. I could not feel the disc, but it was there. It was like collecting like the excess blood that they didn't remove. And I was just like, what the heck happened to me last night? They're like, oh, baby, you had brain surgery. You okay now? I was like, oh, okay. Like, it was just like normal conversation, but obviously I'm in the hospital, so she's probably seen worse. But it was just, they had to drain my head because it filled up with blood. I was non-responsive, and they knew right away what was going on. And so I have this massive scar that starts here, and it loops around my ear. And you really can't tell. I tend to wear my hair curly. And I do that because I try to hide the scar. Because, it's not like I'm ashamed of it. To me, it's somewhat, it reminds me of what I've been through.
Right.
So I try to hide the scar as much as I possibly can. And just most recently, I started cutting my hair short, where the scar is very prominent. And I'm not really ashamed of it anymore because I've been through so much, and I'm a survivor. So I don't look at the scar anymore as, it is a battle wound, but it's more, to me, it's a reminder where I've been through and where I'm about to go to.
That's pretty awesome.
So,
yeah, it's pretty awesome. I think it makes it. It's interesting that you didn't even know you were going to have it. Then all of a sudden you wake up with it.
Yeah.
It's like I don't even know how I deal with that.
Well, the weird thing is when they were taking the staples out of my head, and and you would think you can feel it, and you can't.
You can't.
You can't. I'm just like, and these staples were huge staples. They were like massive staples. I'm like, I can't feel anything. Like, this is freaking crazy. And my head was like numb for like 3 years. So like, I can touch it, and I knew I was touching my head. I just couldn't feel it.
Yeah. So I had a hip surgery just over a year ago now, and it was numb, but it was numb for like 3 weeks, and it was irritating. You know what I mean? Not being able to feel that, just the deadness of your leg. And the staple thing's kind of a cool thing rather than the stitches. And it was weird how they took those out, They come out really easy.
They did. They took some pliers and went,
yeah.
I had, I think, maybe like 15 to 20 staples. Something in there. So, yeah.
That's crazy.
And it's funny because I am legally disabled. I remember receiving the paperwork at my house there in Boston saying, you are now legally disabled. You can go collect all these benefits and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I'm not disabled. I'm perfectly able. It took some work. I couldn't go up a flight of stairs while taking breaks. So in my house, we lived on the 3rd floor, and at every landing, we actually have a chair for me to rest. And so the funny thing is, so it wasn't only that we had 3 floors. I also had a set of stairs to get up to the front door. So I had I had at least 3 chairs.
So it was an apartment building, or?
It was an apartment building.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, basically in Boston area. So it's like a triple decker, like a triple family. So it's like one house. You have 3 individual floors of 3 different individual houses. And we lived at the very top. And it was a horrible time frame for me because it was just bad. Like, going downstairs was so easy. Going up the stairs was like just horrible. Because besides having my autoimmune disease, my body also likes to form blood clots in my chest. So they discovered all these blood clots and all this blockage like in my chest. And like,
which made it hard to breathe.
Made it hard to breathe. Also, I'm surprised you're even here. Like, one of these suckers haven't gone to your heart yet. Like, it's crazy. I also have like a cage inserted to protect my heart from any blood clots from traveling to my heart.
Man, you have gone through a lot.
I've been through a lot. And the way they inserted the cage was, it went through my groin to insert the cage. And then they would try to remove it, but through my neck, and it wouldn't come out. So it was just in there. They're like, it's not going to hurt you. It's just in there. Like, it's just stuck. We can't take it out. It's not going to hurt you, but it's in there. It's doing its job at least.
So did you have to relearn anything or?
I did. I had to teach myself again how to drive because the medicine I was on, I could have basically just passed out or had like an episode, and it really like affected like my memory. So I really had to teach myself how to drive again. I actually had to teach myself how to be human again because my autoimmune disease came out when I was 26. The person who sat before you, before my autoimmune disease came to life, I was such a different person. I was so much more of an extrovert. I was the center of attention. It was always like, look at me. And it's like, I was that kind of person. I was always cracking jokes, the life of the party. And then I went unconscious for like 3 days with my autoimmune disease, and I woke up completely as somebody else. I didn't know how to interact with people. Became very quiet. I became a major introvert. And it's funny because I was just like, when I first got licensed, I was like, I cannot continue being this person. I have to be able to speak to people and have some kind of, intellect, conversation with them. I need to be able to speak to someone so I can actually bring my point across. And so real estate has really brought me back to my old self in a sense. I mean, I'm not as eccentric as I used to be. That could also be because of age. I mean, I love looking at Facebook memories, and I'm like, wow, I really wrote that 10 years ago. Like, holy crap. Like I'm not in that headspace anymore. But, real estate has really brought me back to my old self, where I can now, I can easily speak to anyone in the street, a perfect stranger, and just introduce myself and say what I can do for them.
Yeah, because you've never struck me as an introvert. So,
but it's funny because when I'm doing my job, I have to tell myself like, okay, this is how you make your money. This is how you get your bills paid. This is how you pay for your mortgage. You have to be that other person. Because me personally, when I'm not in front of people, I could be at home with some wine, watching Netflix, and be in my own little world, and I'll be totally fine. My phone doesn't have to ring. I don't have to talk to anybody. I could just be sitting there, just enjoying nothing.
So you don't have to be doing something all the time.
No, and it's very rare that I'm not doing something. Like it's very, very rare. So if I can have the chance to do nothing, I'm going to do nothing. So, and that doesn't really happen that often.
I try to get at least one down day a week where I just don't even talk to anybody. I have to reset.
Yes.
So how long before you moved out to Vegas did you have your surgery?
My surgery was I was 28. And I moved here so about a year and a half afterwards.
Okay, so it was fairly quick. And so you came out here. You came out here for love. That's probably the only person you knew.
Yes.
Yeah. And then did you go straight into real estate or did you?
So no. So the funny thing is I gave my employer in Boston a 6-month notice. Like, who actually does that? Like, lets your employer know, in 6 months, I won't work here anymore. So I remember in September when it was actually my final 2 weeks. I was actually leaving to Las Vegas on September 30th. And I get pulled into the office at my employer, and they were just like, we are downsizing, and I was also one of the top sellers there as well too. I used to sell investigational services, and it's funny because our state was one of my territories, and they were like, "We're downsizing, and we know that you are leaving next week, and we need to get rid of 2, sellers. And since you already are leaving, instead of us losing 3, we're putting you on the unemployment list." And so that was like my gift, saying, go to Vegas, but now you have unemployment for 6 months. So I first got here September 30th. I enjoyed the strip for like the first 2 weeks because I've never got to just witness a strip like that.
Got to get it out of your
system. I got it out of my system, and now you will never ever find me there. It's so weird, but I got it out of my system. I started school for real estate in middle of October. And then I ended up getting licensed in March. But during that time frame, I'm still like a very busybody. Like I could not just go to school and do nothing, right? Because school is granted it's 90 hours a week, but yes, at your own pace,
right?
So I ended up working at Farmers Insurance, actually on Rainbow, being their marketer. I would contact people regarding quotes, and I wasn't selling insurance, but I was basically getting them interested. And then it was funny, when I first got licensed, the owner of the company was like, I want you to be my producer. Meaning I would go out to businesses and basically, promote the service and basically, be a higher pay scale. And I just got licensed, and he's like, I'll pay for you to become a producer. The only thing is you owe me is 2 years of service. And I was just like, no, I just got licensed. I'm like, this is not happening right now. It's like this is a now. This is like now. So I had to decline. But I still ended up working there for about a year and a half as my business was building. I was still there.
Okay, so you didn't come in full force, full time.
No, I couldn't. And the funny thing is, when I first got licensed, I was thinking, I think a lot of agents think that too. When you first get licensed, okay, this is now my bread and butter. Let me quit everything else that I'm doing and put all my energy into this. And if you have no clients, you're not doing anything. You're just you're just a sitting duck. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, and so, but I did that for 6 weeks. So I left my employer and I went into real estate full time. And 6 weeks later, I was right back to my employer's office. I was like, I'm still doing real estate, but I haven't sold a thing yet. So, and I kind of have bills to pay, and my phone's about to go off like next week. I need to work here again. So they welcomed me back with open arms, and so
that's good. So and then you started in real estate. How long was it before you had your first closing?
So it's funny. So my first 6 weeks being licensed, I actually closed the deal.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I was the buyer's agent, and she was my first listing as well too. So I've done business with her several times. But so within the first 6 weeks, I did sell a property, and then I want to say maybe 6 weeks after that, I sold a second property, and then I was dry for like 9 months. I was just doing like rentals, and then I remember I did a third sale in January 2016. I've been licensed, since 2016. And at that time frame, my license, because my previous broker froze my license. Because I was trying to leave their brokerage, and they did not respond to any of the correspondence. So I had to wait 30 days.
That's when you were coming over here.
Exactly.
Right?
And they would not, they would not respond to anything. So I had to wait. And my license was frozen. So basically, I had another transaction, but not in my name. It was under another agent. So I did all the paperwork and everything. It was just not under my name.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that transaction, it was like another 7 months of like nothing. And then June of 2016, I started having one sale a month. That kind of kept me stable. And then one sale turned to two, then 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 5. Now I sell like 5 to 6 properties a month on
which is pretty cool.
Basics. So yeah, I mean, it's just it was growth. It's all about growth. It's all about how you treat your clients.
Mm-hmm.
If you do if you offer great quality service, they're going to recommend you. And that's how my business has grown. And people always say, "How did you do it?" So my formula was I was analyzing what realtors were doing here, and I did the complete opposite. Because within 2 years of being licensed, I probably had did over like 200 open houses. I had did like 2 to 3 a week faithfully. And I'm not knocking open houses. They are a great way to make revenue, to generate some clientele.
Uh-huh.
But I could definitely utilize my time, being more efficient in my business, where I can actually speak to people and actually know it's going somewhere. So I ended up doing expos, I started doing like garage sales. I know at the time they were doing stuff at Joe's Crab Shack. I would set up a table somewhere. So it was like reverse solicitation, where if you came to my table with my tablecloth, you knew exactly what I did. And if you signed into my table, I'm just following up with you regarding your request.
Right.
And that's how I ended up building my business.
And that was all when you joined Heather's team?
Yes.
Okay.
And I just made that whole thing up on my own.
Yeah.
I was just so tired of doing open. I get tired of lugging the signs. I get tired of, it's just, then you're this, and then you get like 5 or 6 people, and it's just like, and then usually you get like the nosy neighbors, or you get the looky-loos who are not even interested in buying a house. They just want to go house shopping in a sense. And, so I wanted real clients. I wanted real prospects that can actually convert into clients. And that's how I did it. So I mean, now Heather and I rerun the team together, and I train my agents. I'm like, this is how I became successful. I mean, you don't have to reinvent the wheel, but you can definitely tweak the wheel.
Right. So what gave you that idea? And then how hard was it to get owners to let you put a table out?
So I became a part of a lot of groups on Facebook. And I would just say, hey, I'm a realtor, and basically, our service is everywhere because everyone has a house that they go home to. Either they own it, they rent it, or whatever. But our service is everywhere. Our service is never ending. And so I would tell them what I was looking to do. I'm looking to prospect to the people who come to your garage sale or to the Joe's Crab Shack. I'm trying to set up a table, and this was my vision. Like, oh, sure. And it will cost maybe between maybe $5 to $25. And in my head, I'm just like, if I get one person, it pays for itself. And I think that's the same thing when I do network. When I was doing networking events, I really have no time at all. Yeah. But I was telling myself at a networking event, if I get one person to buy and sell with me, it makes it worth it. Mm-hmm. When you go to a networking event, no one's looking to spend any money, at all. That's not their mind frame. Their mind frame is to get more clients, so they can profit more money.
Everyone's doing the same thing.
Exactly.
Right?
So that's why I was just like, and I was like, whoa. Like when I figured that out, I was like, okay, I got to stop this crap because that's not doing anything for me. So, but like I said, I was just analyzing the market. And I would go on Facebook and find different expo events and different things. And basically, I was just like, instead of me lugging all these signs and doing a table, the table's already there. I'm just bringing my stuff to put on top of it.
Right.
I eliminate the signs. I mean, I can have one sign as decor, basically, and that was it.
Darryl, it's brilliant. Rather than going to an empty house, waiting for people to come to you, you find the people and you go to them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, actually, they come to me. I'm already there.
Right. But you know where they're going to be, so you go there and
Yes.
It's there.
Like, we are doing a bridal event. One of the biggest bridal events. I've been working for 3 years trying to get into this event. It's happening July 31st and August 1st. They have over 2,000 attendees in a weekend. So we're doing a bridal event there. Because after you get married, obviously you want to start building your life and buying. The next step is about buying a house. So this is my 3rd bridal event that I'll be doing. And I just love doing expos. It's another way how to interact with people. Also, people hire us off of what they see, not off of like a billboard.
Right.
I mean, my marketing is everywhere. Like I'm in the Smiths at the Smiths shopping carts on Lake Mead and Rampart. I'm also at the gym on EOS on Lucy and Centennial. I have so many marketing, items that you approved.
Right.
But I have so many things. But basically, it's people hire us because of how we interact with them. They like what they see. They like what they hear. It's like, because you can see me everywhere. It doesn't mean you're going to hire me. It's just like, well, okay, you're this irrelevant face. You do what you do and you're everywhere. But how's that going to benefit me? So that's why I figure people, and I always tell this to my team, I'm like, people hire us off of what they see. They have to know you, trust you, like you to do business with you.
Right. What would be advice you'd give somebody coming into the business?
Shadow a realtor. To know what you're really getting yourself into. Like, if I would have shadowed someone when I was actually getting licensed, I probably still would have became a realtor, but I had no idea I would actually be at this level just within like almost 5 years. Like, I literally eat, breathe, crap real estate. Like, that's all I do. But it's a great life. Don't get me wrong. I love what I do. It gives me the freedom to travel when I want. I have liquid cash basically, but I'm always thinking about the next project. What can I put my money to? I'm not buying these lavish things.
Right. You're still conservative.
Exactly. I'm still very conservative. And I'm always thinking about how can I, utilize my funds to put it towards my business to make even bigger business.
Right. So what kind of investments are you looking at? Are you looking at buying more property for rentals, or are you?
I am. So it's funny, I'm getting into that right now. And I know Audrey. Hey, Audrey, she has a land listing coming up in Pahrump, and I might be jumping on that.
Oh, right on.
Because I have to talk to my CPA and also my bookkeeper and see what I can do. But for what she was telling me was going to be sold out, I'm like, I can't pass that up. That's going to be insane. So I'll probably be buying some land in Pahrump, which I've been there. There's like nothing there at all.
But it's growing a lot now.
It is. Oh, it definitely has. I did sell something in Pahrump, a new build, back in June of last year, and it was my first time being out there. And this is completely a 360 from Las Vegas. It's like nothing from like where I live right now. But I mean, if you actually like more of like the country living, it's perfect.
Rural, yeah. So last year you bought your first home.
Yes.
Which was a big deal.
It was.
Right? You're the first person in your family to buy a home?
Yes.
What did that make you feel? I mean, it's just got to be unreal.
I've been wanting to purchase a home since I got into real estate, because giving out keys to these people who thought it was never possible, and then internally you're like, it's not possible for me though, because of all the medical bills have just put my credit to shame. And I was like, it's just not possible for me. So there was this program called Sapphire, I believe, a couple of years ago, where you can purchase a home and receive down payment assistance at a 580 FICO. That program, though, I tried to jump on it, but because I wasn't in real estate long enough, I just couldn't. And then also, my then broker wouldn't even verify my employment. So, I mean, that was kind of like a nail right there on the coffin. So I'm like, whatever. But I remember I was coming across, I wrote an offer for a $5.5 million deal in 2018. I was like, this is going to be a big old crap load of money. I should go out and buy something. So I got in contact with my lender, and we discovered with my credit, because I was working my credit for so many years, I really went from like a 530 to like about a 650 in about 2 years. Nice. And he was like, dude, you can purchase like right now once you get this check. Not a big deal. The deal fell through, obviously. So, and that was also November 2018. Flash forward to January 2019, I'm showing a property to another client around Craig, and that's when they were actually manipulating the street to accommodate my new community. So we're doing like, 5 to 10 miles an hour, and I look to my right, and I see this big old Lennar sign stating condos starting the low 200s. I'm like, I'm not doing anything. I'm like, I need to go check out the new inventory and see what I can possibly sell in there. And when I spoke to the agent there, they're like, oh, we take FHA for everything. And I was like, I already know I can do an FHA loan. So I filled out the application. I walked out with a contract. I was not even in the market looking for a house. And when I woke up that morning, I was a renter. And when I went to bed that night, I was a homeowner. I was like, holy crap. So, I mean, and the house was already halfway built. And I drove to the plot, and I saw all the walls were up. And they were just doing the interior now. And I was like, it took 60 days. And literally 60 days later, I had the keys to the house. And so it was just this phenomenal thing. And I was also doing leadership, doing my documentation. And so it was a whirlwind last year, but it was definitely worth it.
Right. So it's a cool story, and I bet your mom's just proud.
Oh yeah, when she actually saw the home last year back in May for the first time, I brought her for the 40 under 40. She actually started crying when she went to the front door because it was just so touching. It was so moving because where we're from, like we grew off of food stamps in Section 8. You know, we grew up in the really bad areas of the Boston area, and you know where I'm from, like you're born there and you die there. You don't become anything.
You don't get out.
And you don't. You really don't. And my city literally is only like a 5-mile radius. It's really, really small. Like I'm actually from Lawrence, Massachusetts. I just say Boston is more familiarized. But, you know, in my city, we're always looked down upon because we're the ghetto city. We're the Latin city. You know, we're surrounded by Andover, Methuen, Haverhill, where, you know, you mostly have, you know, American people. You know, we are the descendants. We are the immigrants. That's my city. You know, we are the immigrant city.
Well, you don't get out unless you're Darryl Braswell.
Well, yes. So,
right?
I mean, and the funny thing is a lot of, you know, due to social media, I see a lot of my friends who have actually ventured away from our city, and they are doing amazing things as well.
Oh, that's cool.
So, yeah, and I get a bunch of messages saying, you know, thank you for being that positive force, you know, proving that we can become someone from our city.
That's
so
really
getting
cool.
stuff like that's amazing, too.
So you inspire a lot of people even back home.
Yes.
So you went through the Nevada Realtors Leadership.
Yes.
And that was just this last year you graduated. What did you think of that program?
You know, it's funny because the one who got me into that program was Janet Carpenter. And Janet, you know, I love ya. So she was just like, because I went for 40 under 40 for 2018. I didn't receive the award. And Janet was pissed when I didn't receive the award.
Oh, I know.
And she was like, this is what we're going to do to make sure you get this award. You're going to do leadership. We're going to get you being some of the chairs up in these communities you're part of. And so I went into leadership, and I was just like, and I hate doing events with other realtors because we're so type A personality. It's me, what I want. And, you know, you're going to listen to what I have to say, and it's my way or the highway. I'm like, oh, it's a year of this. Okay. And from the session one, that was not the purpose at all. Like we were at that time frame 16 individuals from our state, and we were just there. We were all just hungry to learn,
right?
You know, and we took all the lessons. And I can tell you one thing about me is that when my disease came through, they took away the emotional part of me, so I haven't like cried like in like 10 years, and I have shed so many tears during this program because I really let go. Like things that I had been hiding for the past few years regarding my disease and my struggles, I just put in the forefront, and I was very open, very honest with these people who now become like family to me. And, you know, we have become so close. And I would highly recommend the leadership program, the state program, to anyone because it's a really big eye opener.
Yeah.
I mean, if you are involved in any way possible, I would highly recommend this program. It sharpens your skills for public speaking, for leadership. I mean, I definitely took some of the tools for leading my team back here in Vegas.
Well, I want you to know something that Janet won't go around and say who her favorites are, but you're one of her favorites. I mean, you have a very special place in her heart. And, she was devastated when you didn't get that 40 under 40, and she was probably more excited than you were when you got it.
Yes.
The next year. So, she's put a lot of people into the Nevada leadership. She encourages, I bet she's probably their number one recruiter of it because she believes in that program so much and what it can do. The other thing she does is she does a lot in driving people to get involved with GLVAR, our local association. And I'm looking at your bio here, and I'm seeing you're on the education committee, you're on the Community Outreach Committee, the YPN Committee, the Green Committee. I mean, was Janet the inspiration for you getting involved in the board, or what drives you to do that?
Well, it's funny because the one who really got me involved was Heather.
Yeah.
She was like, you need to be involved in your association because you're putting money towards this association and you're not there. And you need to get more familiarized with people who work there because, you know, this is what your career is. So I first started, Heather is a green license designee as well. And so we all became like the green team. And then I furthered more. Yeah. So and then I furthered more getting my ABR, my SRS, and most recently my RRG. And I just speak. And it's funny because GLVAR, and it's so true that you guys just suck us in. You see someone who's willing to assist and lend some time. You guys are like, well, what else? So right now, currently, I am chair of education. I'm also part of YPN, also part of finance, investments, and also leadership alumni.
Beautiful. You're on the finance committee.
Yes. So finance, leadership, and investments are all appointed. So I actually feel like Vaughn's in it right now because I'm like living at GLVAR. So
yeah. She's practicing the word no, and you'll have to learn that someday.
Yes, definitely. So I can tell you, finance and investments are the 2 to 3 year, duty, basically. So once I finish chair for education for this year, I am going to start learning how to say no. 'Cause I still have to run a business and still have a team to help them run their business. But I am literally like all over the place. And I knew when the ball dropped for 2020, I was just like, this is not going to be easy the next 2 to 3 years.
Right.
But I mean, thank goodness for my Google Calendar. I mean, it keeps me up to date where I need to be. So my thing is, if it's not in my calendar, it does not exist. So if you invite me somewhere, please send me a Google invite so I can add you to my calendar, or make sure it's in my calendar so I can actually show up, because it's the brain surgery. Like if it's not present, it just doesn't happen.
Yeah, and that's the same with me. I mean, the calendar is a lifesaver, and I got a new program I use. It's called Schedule Once.
Okay.
And it's where people can actually go and log on and actually schedule time with you, and it actually puts it in your calendar for you.
Oh, nice.
That brings up another problem, though. That means I got to look at my calendar more often because things pop into there. But it's a lifesaver to be able to do that. So to do the production you do, you've got to be structured.
Yes.
So you're structured off your calendar. What else? What other tools do you use to manage your business?
So it's so funny because, like I said, I've been doing sales since I was 20, and my follow-up is like, I have not seen my type of follow-up given from anyone. So here's my process. So say, Brandon, I meet you, walks of life, you say you're interested in buying real estate or selling real estate. You go into my CRM, and at first, when I first get your information, I'll call you maybe every other day for the first 2 weeks. And then if I don't receive a response, it goes from every other day to like once a week. And then once a week goes to like once a month. And then I track my interaction with you on my CRM to see if we've had any communication at all through email, text, or phone. Because I'll copy and paste everything to my CRM. If I don't have any kind of correspondence with that person for a year, they go to my trash folder, but they still get drip campaigns like emails and stuff. And if you do interact with me, I need at least 6 F-offs for me to stop calling you. I need, because I could have got you at a bad time.
Right.
You know, it happens. And, I can blow steam on this realtor. What's he going to say? You know what I mean? So, I need at least 6 F-offs, and then I'll stop calling you.
That's what it takes, huh?
Yeah, it definitely is what it takes. And even there are some people where I'm just like, we had a good conversation on, interaction number 5. I got to F off on number 6. I'm gonna go back for number 7, number 8, number 9, and see what happens there too. So
right. So what CRM do you use?
It's funny because not many people know of the CRM. It's called Big Purple Dot. And I came across it through my previous brokerage. They were looking for another email campaign or something. So their mentor through Arizona had mentioned the company. And I had a free trial that went on for like 2 years. And when they finally caught on, they were like, either you sign on today or we're going to send you everything in an Excel spreadsheet. What do you want to do? I was like, I guess I'll sign on today.
Yeah, it's a good deal now.
Yeah, it is. I have over 3,000 contacts in there. So I've definitely, people are like, oh, you should switch CRMs. I'm like, you know how much work that's going to be?
Right.
That's crazy.
And you know what? There's always another shiny object, but if you find something that works for you, why change?
Of course.
Unless it's lacking something that can make you more efficient. But it sounds like it's working really good for you. So let's see. What has been your biggest challenge in real estate?
My memory.
Just your memory, huh?
Yes, because at first, when I wasn't doing things so often, I had to jog my memory again about what does this mean, or what's the response for this. And now, because I do it so often, it's just like it's like answers off the fly. Like I can fill out a purchase agreement like in my sleep. Okay. Like it's so easy. Like the biggest challenge I would have to say also was just finding people to sell to. That's one thing. Like people think that, or people really don't understand that once they get licensed, you have opened a business. And a lot of people don't really seem to understand that. They're like, oh, where do you work at? I'm like, well, my license hangs at Signature, but I am my own business. They're like, you're your own business. I'm like, yeah, I'm my own. I have my own tax ID number. I pay taxes. I hang my license at Signature, and I'm very proud to hang, my license at Signature.
Signature Life.
But I have my own company, I have my own hours. I have my own schedule.
You're your own boss.
Exactly, I'm my own boss. So if you have an issue about me, you're going to me about me. Or if it's something regarding a transaction, you go to my broker. So. Right.
And that's true. You open your own business. Granted, it's under the umbrella of Signature, but it is your own business. No different than insurance, so to speak. You have insurance agents that work under Farmers or Allstate or different things like that, but they're still their own agency, right?
Yes, exactly.
They just sell that product. What other things do you do in your free time? What makes you tick?
Things that I do. First of all, what is free time? That's the real question. When I am not being Mr. Personality, as I call myself, in real estate, when I'm not being Mr. Personality, if I can veg out, and I'm serious, it's like, sit on the couch with a book, with a glass of wine, or, you know, follow up on a Netflix program. That's what I love to do. Or when it's beautiful weather outside, I like to be by the pool. Because even though my disease is heat activated, I can still sit in a pool of water, which cools me down. So that's completely fine. It's completely acceptable, and I'm not going to go like rush into the hospital. But in terms of things like, you know, it's funny because I don't really get a lot of downtime. So when I can just be, when I can be in my house to enjoy my house, that's what I want to do. And the funny thing is, like, I don't work from home. I work in the office. I separate my work life from my home life. You will never see me make a phone call like in my house. Like, I'll do it in the car, I'll do it in the office, but I will not do it in my house because I want to love where I live.
That's beautiful.
You know, so, and people are like, oh, you can just have your office in your house. I'm like, no, I'll hate my house. Like, so much crap that I go through in real estate on a daily basis, I'll learn to hate my house. Like, so I definitely separate the two.
Well, and it's smart too. I've never heard anyone phrase it that way, but it's smart because then you don't associate your house with work.
Exactly.
And when you're home, which is cool. So, what's your biggest secret?
Biggest secret, biggest secret.
Anything that you,
Well, it wouldn't be a secret anymore.
It was a trick question.
Well, my biggest secret that I was very vulnerable on for the interview was my disease. Not many people, actually no one really knows about my disease because I don't want people feeling sorry for me. Yes, I have been through so much in such a short time. And also, I will always be like the youngest person on the hospital floor. And they were like, for someone who's so young, you go through so much. And I just don't want people feeling sorry for me because I don't feel sorry for myself. You know, I'm always, I don't look at myself as a disabled being. I am able. I can walk, I can drive, I can talk, I can have conversations. I can write contracts. I mean, I get things done. You know, so I don't want anyone ever feeling, you know, oh, poor Darryl, you know, your body eats itself. Or poor Darryl, you can't sit out in the sun with a glass of lemonade for more than 10 minutes. You know, I'm like, no, not poor me, like more like yay me, you know, because I mean, I live the life that I dreamed of.
No, that's cool. When you put it that way, I mean, I would feel a little bit bad, but in all, I don't really feel sorry for you. I feel inspired by you.
Thank you.
I think your story and what you've gone through is inspirational to me, and I think for a lot of people. And I'm glad you shared it today on the show here. Any parting words? Anything?
You know, entering the new decade. I never thought I would be where I am today. And of course, obviously, the sky is still the limit. Just look out for 2020 because I'm definitely coming. You know. Yeah. I'm ready.
Do you have goals? Obviously, you set goals, right?
So here's the thing with my goals. I no longer do figurative goals because if you don't obtain them, it's like a punch in the gut. So my goal is just to offer the best customer service as possible. The numbers will follow themselves. Actually, being honored at the Leaders Luncheon that we have quarterly, to me that's a goal to always make the Leaders Luncheon. But it's not about how many houses I sell. It's more about the service that I offer because the service, of course, will bring more business.
You'll always succeed.
Yes.
So, well, I really, really appreciate your time today.
Thank you,
Darryl, and I'm looking forward to what you achieve in 2020 and beyond. I love working with you, and just keep being an inspiration.
Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Signature Life Podcast. If you enjoyed today's show, please leave a review and subscribe. Don't forget to also follow us on YouTube and Facebook.